Okay. Oh well.
I just put.
Well. Madame Catherine took it upon herself to.
Madame.
My damn.
Oh, we're live here.
Hi, everyone.
With 0 viewers, but hello anyway.
Hello, everyone there.
Who knows? That 0 is meaningless. There could be. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and share this as we allow people to. Oh Lord, they're singing. That's gonna chase everybody out now. Oh me. We are. I do have a doll here to do a thing with. But let me go ahead and share before I do that.
Sherry.
Oh, there he goes again with the Sherry baby.
Sherry baby.
And there she goes with the Sherry baby. Oh me. So yeah, I got a little cute little chunky doll here, and then we're gonna talk about phobias. Phobias.
We live? We got
We're
two
live,
visitors
man.
already, and we are live.
And we are live. So
my work
that's why I'm
today.
sharing.
Welcome everybody to Abnormal Alabama, myhaunteddogs.com, abnormalalabama.com. We are live streaming all over Facebook, all over YouTube, and all across my desk.
All across his desk.
So if you have a phobia, tell us what your phobia is. Punch it into the chat room there so we can talk about your phobia. Not my phobia. What's your camera? I got too many cameras here. Your phobia. Yeah. Your phobia? Okay. I have a camera phobia, I think.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No. The camera's got a phobia of me.
Oh, there it is. A calciagrophobia. Is that it?
Acrophobia. So welcome everybody to another wonderful Tuesday night. We got storms coming through here. If the storms will knock out anything in the house, then I'll start streaming on my cell phone. And we'll go from there. We're not going to make you lose any part of this 2 hours.
I'm going to go grab my charger and charge my phone.
All right. So as normal, Kevin is going to talk to a doll and hope it talks back.
Yeah, I am. And I got a little chubby one right here. Look at this little cute little thing here. Chubby one. Let's see. There she is.
Are you going to use your REM pod tonight?
You know what? I will, because I don't know. Little kid ghosts don't ever seem to want to play with it. They get scared.
Well, what about the cat ball?
And I will get the cat ball out though.
Let's have a ball.
We're gonna have a ball. So there is the REM pod of the skull.
That is his Ouija board skull.
Yes. Are you here? Yes or no? Oh, I don't have a planchette. Darn.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I wonder what somebody would have done. You know how in elementary school kids would pass those notes. Will you be my girlfriend? Check yes or no.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what a teacher would have done if somebody had passed the Ouija board with a planchette. Will you be my girlfriend?
Now, what's this doll's name?
Her name, I believe, is Candy. I'm going to pull up the story in just a second.
I like me some candy.
You like you some candy. And here is the cat ball. There.
We got a bad one.
See, it's all nice and working. So we're going to put it over here next to the baby here.
So I'm gonna back out. We're gonna turn this over to Mr. Kevin the Cane, Abel's brother. And he's gonna talk to Candy and we're gonna listen. Are you ready?
I am ready now. And I apologize for the shaky cam there. I'm just getting stuff out there because it's one thing I forgot. I had everything else. I had the pictures uploaded here for our phobia stories.
Yeah, he's got a phobia about phobias. He got a phobia.
So I'm going to get this little princess's name up here because I want to make sure I got it right. Because I found the story I had on her. And there she is.
Is that a
And,
Cupid doll?
No, that's not a Cupid doll. She's too big to be a Cupid doll. She's all glass. And she's got strings on the inside there that hold her arms and legs in and her head.
She's as cute as she can be.
Yes, she look at the little chubby cheek. Look, you can see the little dimples in her cheeks. Look at that.
Oh,
Look at the little dimple in her cheek.
she's adorable.
And let's see. I had her name on here. I've got her story here. Yes, Candy. That is her name. All right. Let's see. Candy's doll has turned by itself on a few occasions. And I know I saw some activity from her when I first got her from Grandma's Haunted Attic was the name of the haunted doll lady I got this from. She calls her store Grandma's Haunted Attic. I think now it's called Grandma's Haunted Dolls, though. And but it says here, several weeks after Candy got here, well, this is my story here, and I kept her doll in my bedroom on a shelf. I was walking through my big living room and found a piece of porcelain glass just laying on the carpet with no explanation. No dolls nearby. I started checking each doll, and lo and behold, it came from Candy's doll. I'm not mistaken, it was off of her her little butt cheek under her leg there. She was perfectly intact when I got her and no broken places, and all of a sudden, here's a shard of porcelain that came from her doll. And from her buttocks area, if that wasn't funny enough, the piece of glass wound up in a totally different room with no explanation. So it's not like a piece of glass fell off her body and was on the floor next to her. It was in a whole other part of the room. I don't even know what caused it to break off. There was no way my cat could have done it without knocking the doll off of the shelf because the doll's always sitting. And the doll was exactly as I had left her before. So, and I'm the only one who was living in that house at the time. So that was quite spooky. So now, didn't mean to go over her head there. I'm just backing up a little bit. So we can get started with the necrophonic. And I need to make sure. Necrophonic. So, Candy, I've got this cat ball out here if you'd like to tap it. There it goes. It lights up real pretty. Or you can play with this little head, this little fellow over here. He's got this metal rod. See how it lights up the eyes when I touch it? And so let's go ahead and try Spirit Box. Hello, Candy. Okay, the ball keeps lighting up. Look at that. Should have stopped by now, but it lit up again. Are you playing with the ball, Candy? Oh, there it goes again. Look at that. Now, I'm not even touching the table. Look, I'm not touching it. Thought I heard ball on the spirit box. Candy, if that was you, can you please touch that ball again? Hey, Candy, I hear you. If you come close near this thing in my hand here, I can hear you talk. Hello, Candy. Hey, Candy, are you Are you doing okay? Yeah? Was that you playing with that ball? I think both Catherine and Kelsey were away when that ball lit up.
I'm here.
Yeah, no, yeah, a minute ago the ball lit up twice after I had touched it.
Did it really? And I
Yeah,
missed it?
and it's on video here, you know, it's on.
Because I love the little cat toy ball. I need you to send me the link so I can order some.
But it went off a couple of times after I did it. It was like automatically it kept going off back to back. So I think Candy was trying it out. Was that you, Candy? Yeah. Hey, Candy, how old are you? Are you 5? Yeah, I heard a little yeah. The number 5 just kind of popped in my head, so. Did this doll belong to you? Does she look like you? That was a creepy breathing noise. Where did you find this doll? Somewhat. I heard you say some loud and clear, but. Do you have dimples like your doll on your little cheeks? Do you have blue eyes like your doll? I see she's got a lot of hearts on her outfit. Do you like hearts? Gonna switch hands here with my camera. There we go. So tell us something about yourself, Candy. Do you hear that thunder outside? We have a storm outside, so the thunder's crackling right now. If anybody's wondering, I'm using the Necrophonic app for this spirit box session. Do you like thunderstorms, Candy? I'm not a big fan of thunder and lightning. What about you? Whoa, what was that? There's the cat ball. Look, cat ball, y'all. There goes the cat ball. Oh. Was that you, Candy? See, I'm not touching the table. I'm away from it. My arm of my chair's away from it. Kind of looks like I'm close, but I'm really not. There's some space between us there. That's a good job you did with the cat ball, Candy. I'd love to see you light that up again. I had just commented on how I'm not a big fan of thunder and lightning. Nah, you neither. I saw you. So you've done the cat ball several times. Can you come over to this silly looking head next to you and touch that metal rod and make that light up? His eyes will start flashing and he'll make these little squeaky noises. It's really funny. That doesn't scare you, does it? No? Well, you just keep playing with that cat ball if you want to. Where are you from, Candy? Are you from the country? Are you from a big city? What was the name of the place? Dad? Are you saying Dad? I hear your voice. You got a cute little voice. Of course, there's somebody whose deep voice keeps coming through, too. Are there any other spirits with your doll, Candy? Who are they? How many spirits are here? Did I hear a 6 in there? Oh. Hey, Candy, what did you want to say? Da again? Are you saying Daddy? I heard da twice. Hey, Candy, can you touch that cat ball again? That little toy ball there? We've only got a couple of minutes left for our session. Is there anything you'd like to say? Tell us what's your favorite thing to play with. I thought I heard ball and then doll. Are you happy here? I sure hope you are. If you are, please tap that ball and make it light up. I heard a yes. I know it takes a lot of energy to light up that ball, and you've done it several times now, so I understand if you're tired out. We're going to talk about things that scare us tonight. Are you, is there anything that scares you? What scares you? Heard somebody say a lot. All right, we got to move on with our stories. So is there anything you want to say before we stop? Because now's your chance. Or if you want to light up that little ball again. Of course, I'll leave that on for you. Is there any last words you want to say before we move on? I heard a little laugh. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to count down from 5 before I cut the box off, okay? If there are any spirits who are here that don't belong here, you need to back away to go back to where you came from. And all spirits back away from the device here because I'm going to turn it off at the count of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Did y'all, Catherine missed it again. That ball lit up again. So it lit up several times during this.
Were there any words spoken that you recognized?
Well, I kept hearing the little girl say, "Dad," like she was trying to say, "Daddy, Dad, Dad."
Yeah.
And then, like a little girl, yeah, Dad.
She might be going,
And,
maybe she had a phobia.
maybe she had a phobia. That was funny at the end there. I said, what scares you? And somebody came through and said, a lot.
Kevin scares me.
Yeah, they didn't say Kevin scares me. Oh, I need to show off. Look, I got a sample copy of the hardbound version of my book. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
God, you didn't get me one?
Look at that.
I
Yeah,
love it.
hardbound. Look at that hardbound book.
That looks good.
Trying to get in the frame. There it is.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to do me some hardbound books now.
And it makes my picture show up even better on the back.
Oh my God, that's as ugly as you are in person.
So I ordered a couple of more of these. Of course, these are a little more expensive than getting the paperback, but
How much does it sell for?
well, this is set right now. I got it set for $16.99.
And I know it's cost you more than the paperback does when you get your copy.
Yeah, and a couple of these have sold on the hardbound. I got a little list today, and I'm only getting, even though it's $16.99, I'm only getting like $3 royalty from each.
You need to raise the price
because the printing expense is bigger on these, and it took longer too.
Oh, are we going to do that Conjuring thing one Saturday?
Conjuring,
the book signing.
Oh, the bookstore. I'm thinking about the movie.
God.
Yeah, I want to do that, and I've seen another place out there I wouldn't mind going to, kind of like Nadine's grave. Y'all ever heard of Grantzer Harrison? Grantzer Harrington. Harrison. Grantzer Harrison's tomb, the dancing ghost of Southern Alabama, and his tomb.
Southern Alabama.
He was buried in his feather bed. So his tomb is in the shape of a bed. You can see the footboard. And the
Hold on, I got to think. Okay, go for it, Catherine.
Uh-oh. Is he disappearing again? Oh, you're on mute.
I kind of got lost there for a second. What's going on?
No, I was saying there's another place I wouldn't mind going to. Grantzer Harrison's grave.
Where's that at?
It's down in South Alabama. I know it's over 2 hours to get there. But it's the last story in the 13 Alabama Ghost book about the dancing ghost, Grantzer Harrison. And his tomb is shaped like a bed because he was buried in his bed. It's his final wish.
I want to be buried in my bed too.
Well, that was early 1800s. It's one of those kind of smaller feather beds, but it's a massive tomb down there. And let me see if I can find a picture of it here before we get into.
I would also like to be buried in my pajamas if I'm going to be buried.
In your pajamas?
Yeah. In other words, I want to go out of this world the same way I came into this world.
Oh, in your pajamas. All right, I'm about to put up a picture of Grantzer Harrison's tomb here. So you can see it looks kind of like a cement version of an old bed. Come on, Harrison. Get on up there. Get on up there. There it is. Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's a big cement. I guess they put his body on the bed. I don't know if they put him in a casket or not. Then they put the tomb around the bed there. So that's why it looks like a headboard and a footboard.
That is really cool.
I guess this end of it's the headboard because the other end is kind of shorter and it's got that sleigh look to it, like those sleigh beds have on the footboard.
Yep.
But
that's what kind of bed I have.
People say they see his ghost dancing on his grave.
Ooh, we should go about dusk.
Dusk? That late in the evening?
Yeah, just before dark, when it's spooky.
Oh.
There's another cemetery that I've got to find it again, but you drive through and your headlights shine onto the tomb.
Yeah.
And it shows an angel or something.
Oh.
So that was, like through the keyhole or something, it shows an angel.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I want to go see that. It's up in North Alabama, I believe. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, tonight we're talking about phobias, or phobias, as some of us southern hick rednecks call them.
What is your phobia?
I don't like this right here. I don't like spiders.
Those don't bother me.
But you know what? If a little tiny, the little house spider, usually a house spider, I'll leave it alone. But if it's a little kind of spider, it doesn't bother me. But you get this big old hairy thing, and I don't like those. Of course, we don't have a lot of hairy things here in Alabama. Not in the spider variety, anyway. But arachnophobia runs in my family because my mother had it severely, my sister has it severely, and I'm partially because I freak like they did, or my sister still does. She will scream like a piercing scream and freak. If it's a big one running around, I might go, ooh, but I'm not gonna turn into a little girl all of a sudden.
I'm very lucky that my phobia
And
is something I can control.
but another thing I don't like, and if you ask actually, this is probably a bigger fear because I have nightmares of these getting in the house. I hate snakes, like Indiana Jones. I hate snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? And what is a phobia of snakes? Let me look that up right quick. Phobia of snakes.
I
It's
can't
called
remember.
ophidiophobia. Ophidiophobia is a kind of phobia where you have an extreme fear of snakes. It is perfectly normal for adults and children to have fears, but having a simple fear of snakes is different from having a phobia because fear of snakes is very common. Half the people in the world feel anxious about snakes, and I would agree to that because I don't like snakes.
I
So
don't
now,
fear them. I respect them. I don't fear them.
well, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near it, but if I see one, we had snakes in the woods behind my house where I grew up in my childhood, and I didn't like those snakes. They had those black ones. We called them black racers. I don't know if they really were black racers, but they looked like them.
When I was a kid, I bent down. Dad told me to go get a rope from underneath the trampoline, and I bent down to pick up the rope. Only I didn't pick up a rope. I picked up a big ass black snake. Thank goodness it was just a rat snake and not a copperhead, because we lived next to, or a water moccasin, because we lived next to a creek growing up, and snakes were just part of our everyday life, living by a creek. So snakes don't bother me. Spiders don't bother me. But my fear is,
What is your fear?
I am terrified of heights.
Heights.
But I am
that right there.
Oh, that picture doesn't bother me, but some pictures do bother me. If I'm moving, I'm fine. Like on a roller coaster or airplane or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That doesn't bother me. It is like if I'm at the Galleria, say I'm at the Galleria on the second level, I cannot get close to the edge to where that glass is.
Yeah.
And look over just one story up. I can't do it.
No, I'm okay with the Galleria, but real high, like back in the old days of the Vulcan before actually, in the old days it was enclosed, but for a while there, they opened up that platform around the Vulcan, and I can't stand there and lean over and look down because it's like, several stories up there. And not only that, but you're on the edge of a mountain, and so...
I have a very funny story to tell you about Vulcan.
Uh-oh.
Dr. Graham and I were doing a wedding up there, and he took me up. The first time I made it up, and I had to ride back down. The second time we go up in the elevator, I am able to walk across the boardwalk from the elevator to the Vulcan itself, to that platform, and I can't go any further. I'm two Oriental men literally carried me back to the elevator.
Some women will do anything to get it.
Some women do anything
to get a man to touch them.
I think Kelsey laughed so hard at me because I'm so terrified of. I was like this. I was like, you gotta get me down. My eyes closed. I couldn't open my eyes. I was crying, and he was laughing at me,
Just in
absolutely
case,
laughing.
just in
She
case any of
don't.
our viewers don't know what we're talking about with the Vulcan, here's a picture of it there, and looking over Birmingham. It's
And look at the walk around there.
yeah.
You see that
I mean,
platform right there between the
yeah,
elevator and that? That's where I
yeah.
walked across that,
That
and I couldn't go back, and I
I
couldn't go any further.
that happened to me. I got dizzy, and I is it just me or did they used to have that in? Wasn't that an enclosed room that you went around it, or has
It
it
was
always
at
been
one
open?
time, I think. It was
Because
I,
like in a stairwell.
when I was little, I remember being in this glassed in area looking out. I don't
wait a
remember.
minute. Wait a minute. You were little.
Yes, I was little. You know,
I have a cabin phobia.
Here's a cabin phobia. Oh
All right. I've got an echo. She's got her mic on. That's why.
no! So now
Okay, that's
y'all both
much
are
better.
muted. There you go.
Much better. All right. So we got her height phobia out of the way there.
I got a story about that goes with the height thing, but if we'll save that for later, I can share it later in the show.
I here's my thing. I love to fly. Back in the 70s, I even went up to Rockford, Illinois, and got my private pilot's license. But I can't stand to be on a roof or a ledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
But
that right there.
yeah, but I have no problem flying. Um, have no desire to jump out of an airplane though.
No, I will not go skydiving.
I see. I want to go skydiving.
You want to go skydiving?
Yes,
And you're afraid and you don't like heights?
yes. Let me tell you
Yeah,
another funny story about me and
something's
heights.
crooked there.
I know. Flying, I love. We went to. I was working on the ambulance, and we were over at Vestavia, or it's Cabo Heights Fire Department, Vestavia Hills, and we were going to watch the fireworks from there that went over Vulcan one 4th of July. Well, we all climbed up on top of the roof. Guess who couldn't get down?
You.
I think I just wanted to be rescued by all the cute firemen. I
Ah, here we go again.
don't know. It's not about being rescued from high places.
Yeah, well, see, they don't have many cute fire girls, so
Yeah, but I tell you, there's been several times down at the Gulf when I've thought about faking a drowning because they had some hot-looking girl lifeguards down there.
yeah, but it'd take a
And
big, strong one for you.
they had hot ones down
Uh-uh.
there.
It'd be your luck, Kevin, that you would get one of those like scraggly old guys coming out there
Oh,
saving
yeah.
you in the
Or
bikini speedos.
or some big Ethel looking one. Oh,
Oh, he would get a Jewish girl that had more hair on her face than he does.
Oy vey, I shall save you.
That's not evil laughing here.
Oh.
Evil, I tell you, evil.
Speaking of evil, I got this creepy
Who's
story
got
about.
phobias? Who's got phobias? You got phobias?
I got this scary story about heights here that I've been dying to share all day. Well, he muted and disappeared. Is that a yes? Go ahead and share.
Don't die to stare it.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
share it, Kevin.
Okay, I mean, my
It's all you.
take a few minutes here. The fear of heights. I'm gonna put up that heights picture up there while I tell it. Come back. Here we go. Aaliyah did her best to keep the nerves at bay for her first day at her new job. Although it was a great opportunity to expand her knowledge of the advertisement world, she felt a bit like she might be in over her head. Frankly, she was surprised they even chose her. She had the education, but lacked the 5 years of experience that so many jobs seem to seek these days. Aaliyah was not about to question it, though. She really needed this job. It was a definite step up for her. As she entered the building, a security guard greeted her and asked for her ID and what she was there for. Wow, major security for a commercial office building, she thought. Once she gave him her driver's license and purpose, Aaliyah was told to wait a moment while the security team verified her information. Once the guard returned and gave her the all clear, he instructed her to take the elevator to the 59th floor, where her new company was located. Robert Richards Advertising Incorporated was a big time advertising firm and took up the top 3 floors of the large office building in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. She'd heard rumors about this company's sometimes quick turnover and wondered why they had such trouble keeping people around. Must be a high stress job. That's okay, she thought. She was a pretty laid back person and she could handle it. As she exited the elevator, another guard verified her name. Such hubbub for an advertising company. Weird. She entered the RRA floor and walked to the receptionist, who was already prepared with her employee paperwork. Hi, you must be Aaliyah. Please fill out this paperwork for your benefits and tax information and bring it back to me. The receptionist seemed overly happy for 8 o'clock in the morning, but Aaliyah guessed that was a good quality for that particular job. Most assuredly not a good fit for Aaliyah, who needed time to wake up before she could deal with people. She was an introvert, if ever there was one. Dealing with too many people at once for too long drained her. She preferred to be left alone to do her job on her own terms. That's why being in advertising worked well for her. She was able to hold what a company or be told what a company was looking for, and then she could go off and create it. Some clients were high maintenance, but as a whole, they usually left her in peace until it came time to present her ideas. As she handed her paperwork back to the receptionist, a woman in a well fitting business suit approached her as if she'd been waiting just out of sight the whole time. Hello, I'm Claire Green. I'm the main HR representative for this floor of RRA. If there is ever anything you need, I'll be the one you'll want to go to first. That includes business or personal issues. We like our employees to be happy and well adjusted here at Robert Richards Advertising, and my door is always open, Claire said. Aaliyah thought she sounded very rehearsed and wondered how often she had to take in new employees, and to immediately suggest she could help with personal matters too made Aaliyah wonder just how stressful this job really was. Let me take you on the grand tour, Claire said as she waved her hand in a sweeping motion toward the cubicles and offices filling the 59th floor. As she took Aaliyah through the space, pointing out each area of the company, Aaliyah repeatedly noticed strange signage on the emergency exits and especially on the door to the stairwell. The many signs warned about not going any higher in the building or calling maintenance if you needed anything from the 60th floor or the rooftop. Some of them were even big red stop signs with authorized personnel only in bold letters on them. Aaliyah could not help but ask about them when it appeared Claire was not covering it in her grand tour. Oh, yes, the 60th floor and the rooftop of this building are restricted areas that require clearance to enter. This is an old building and can be a little dangerous up there. The top floor is kept empty for that reason. We don't allow any access to employees. If you ever hear anything coming from up there, or you notice a door is unlocked, call security right away and they will deal with it, Claire explained. What a strange thing to say, thought Aaliyah. Why would you need to tell someone not to pursue any noises that they may hear? If no one is up there, wouldn't it be quiet? It was then Aaliyah noticed an employee looking at her as Claire explained the top floor. The woman looked scared, like she was pretending to work, but watching Aaliyah instead, waiting for an opportunity to speak to her. Claire called Aaliyah's attention to a cubicle down the hall from the scared looking woman who went back to typing on her computer. Aaliyah made a mental note of the desk location and the woman before continuing on with Claire. Once she settled at her desk, Aaliyah would find a reason to say hi to the woman. For whatever reason, Aaliyah felt drawn to her, like she might need help or something. The very first thing on Aaliyah's agenda that day was an hour-long meeting with her boss, Mr. Stokes, to go over her first project. It was a simple ad for shaving cream and should not be too much trouble, he had said. Just something for her to get her feet wet on. After he left, Aaliyah opened the programs she would need to get started and realized she was thirsty. Rising to go to the break room on the other side of the floor, she remembered the scared looking woman as she walked past her empty desk. Shame she was not there. Aaliyah would have introduced herself. As Aaliyah walked to the break room, however, she noticed one of the stairwell doors that was marked "No Entry" was cracked open. Not wanting it to look as if Aaliyah had already broken the rules, she ignored it and went into the break area to fill her water bottle. Coming out of the break room, Aaliyah was met with a small group of 3 employees huddled around the cracked open stairway door, looking very concerned and whispering amongst themselves. Aaliyah continued to her desk. Just as she was about to turn and sit, she saw a blur rush past the outside of the window in front of her, falling at a high rate of speed. That looked like a person, Aaliyah said, without even realizing she had said it out loud. The cracked open door everyone was huddled around slammed shut with such force that it shook the floor. A security guard spoke into his radio as he rushed past her. "We've got a faller," said the security guard as he rushed into another door just a few feet from Aaliyah's new desk. As he pulled the door close, she was sure she heard what sounded like the faint cry of a child. Why would she hear a child crying? And why would he have said it that way? People didn't generally fall off of tall buildings, they jumped. The expected terminology would be, "We've got a jumper, not a faller." As Aaliyah stood frozen, trying to process what was happening around her, Claire showed up and ushered everyone back to their desks. As she got to Aaliyah, she stopped and asked, "I'm betting you have some questions, don't you?" Aaliyah turned and pressed her head against the window to see if it really had been a person she'd seen fall to their death. Claire stopped her and said, "Come with me. Let's have a chat." As Aaliyah entered the conference room Claire brought her to, she took the seat offered, and Claire took the chair directly across from her. She wasted no time explaining away what had just happened. "The security in this building is top of the line," she began. "Every now and then they run emergency tests of their responsiveness to certain situations. Since our building is very tall, they often do suicide drills so they will know exactly what to do should we have a despondent person on our rooftop. That's what you witnessed today. That was a life-size doll they dropped from the roof to see how the security team would handle it. Nothing more. I'm sure that must make you feel better," Claire said, as she grinned at Aaliyah in a way that seemed completely out of place under the circumstances. "I guess so," Aaliyah said. "Has anyone ever actually jumped off this building?" "Oh, it has happened in the past. A very sad situation. We always hope to avoid that by running excellent security drills and keeping a close eye on things. Don't worry, you're in a very safe work environment," Claire said, as if she was trying to convince instead of inform. "Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Thank you for letting me know. I'm sure I would have lost sleep thinking it was an actual person," Aaliyah said, more thinking out loud than actually talking to Claire. "Oh, good. I'm glad I could help. Wouldn't want our newest employee losing any sleep," Claire said, as she arose from her chair and held the door open for Aaliyah. Feeling slightly dazed from everything that had transpired, Aaliyah stood and ambled toward the door. Freezing in the doorway, Aaliyah remembered one more question she had. "I know this sounds strange, but I thought I heard a child crying when the guard opened the door near my desk. Is there a daycare on the 60th floor? Aaliyah asked. Claire failed to hide a very brief look of concern before she launched into her normal demeanor of excessive positivity. Oh gosh, sometimes the cleaning crew listens to some strange music as they work. I'm sure some of it could certainly sound like crying, Claire said as she laughed a little too loudly and motioned Aaliyah down the hall and back to her desk. Aaliyah found it difficult to focus for a while after that. She found her groove just as she was feeling hungry. She put off eating for a little while, but finally gave in and carried her lunch bag toward the break room area. As she passed by the scared looking woman's desk, she noticed the woman was still not there. Must be in a marathon meeting, Aaliyah thought, and she entered the break area. There were a few other employees in the room eating their lunches. Some had visited the cafeteria on the first floor, while others, like Aaliyah, had packed their lunches. Aaliyah sat on the other side of the room and ate her lunch in silence, as the others seemed to be also doing. The feeling in the room was very somber. Aaliyah wondered if it was the security drill from earlier. They really should have they really should give the building employees some kind of warning before pulling a stunt like that. Have you seen Amber? One of the employees whispered to the other. The other person shook her head in response, and both went very quiet again. Neither one looked up from their food. Aaliyah felt a strange vibe from these people. Everyone seemed so subdued except the receptionist and the HR lady. Aaliyah finished her lunch and left the break room. As she stepped through the doorway, she heard the crying sound again, very faintly. As she whipped her head around to see where it came from, she stared directly at the door that had slammed shut earlier. It was still closed, and the crying stopped the moment she made eye contact with the door. Aaliyah instantly got a creeped out feeling but continued back to her desk, walking past the empty chair belonging to the scared looking woman. When Aaliyah finally got lost in her project, she made some great headway. She felt Mr. Stokes would be very pleased with her progress. He told her to report to him each morning to go over the first project until it was ready for presentation. She began noticing people leaving for the day and realized it was a little past 5, quitting time. She was so close to being at a great stopping point that she decided to stay a little longer and get it done. Aaliyah wanted to impress her boss, hoping to solidify her spot in the company. It really was an excellent opportunity, even if the work environment was a little off. As she worked, fully immersed in her project, the soft, unmistakable sound of a crying child pulled her back to reality. Startled, she stood from her chair to see if anyone else had heard it. No one else was in sight. She realized she might be the last one there, and this was not a pleasant thought given the creep factor of the place. She stepped away from her desk and walked to the entryway area to confirm what she already figured was true. She was alone on the floor. Peeking into the break room confirmed there was no one around. Just then, she heard the crying again. Turning to face the sound, she found herself once again looking at the door that had slammed earlier in the day, only this time it was cracked open again. The childlike cry came again, definitely within the door. Without thinking it through, Aaliyah pulled the door open a little more and looked into the stairwell, not sure exactly what she expected to find. She stood quietly and listened. An even louder wail came from deep inside the stairwell, and she entered to see if there might actually be a child who needed help. As she climbed the stairs, she could see the door leading to the 60th floor was also cracked open. Aaliyah thought this was strange since the security team seemed so hell-bent on keeping people off that floor. As she completed the last few steps to reach the 60th floor, she heard the child again. This made her even more certain there was actually a child up there, probably lost. It wasn't too hard to imagine since all these doors kept being left open. Aaliyah entered the 60th floor and was met with a vast floor full of desks and chairs, but no cubicles, partitions, or walls, just desks and chairs from one wall of the building to the other. This struck her as peculiar, and she stood staring at the space. The little cry brought her back to her senses once again. This time, from the corner of her eye, she swore she saw a child dart through the desks at the far corner of the space. Aaliyah immediately walked in that direction to find the child and take him or her to security guards and report them lost. "Hello," she called into the quiet room. "Is anyone there? Do you need help? I promise I won't hurt you. I want to help you. My name is Aaliyah. What's yours?" she said as she tried to make the child feel more comfortable and come out of hiding. All she heard in return was steady, soft whimpering. A loud metallic sound startled her, and she turned in time to see the big metal door at the other side of the floor closing as if someone had just run through it. "Wait, it's not safe in there," Aaliyah yelled as she ran between the many desks to reach the door and the child she was sure she was pursuing. Without thinking, she bounded up the stairs and burst through the door. She was shocked to find herself outside. She'd unknowingly gone straight onto the roof of the 60-story building. Her heart skipped a beat at the expansive view from so high up. She was not very keen on heights. Just standing on the roof, nowhere near the edge, still made her feel slightly dizzy. Then she saw it, her absolute worst nightmare. A small girl with long blonde hair stood on the ledge, barefoot and wearing a white nightgown with purple flowers all over it. She stood on the ledge of the building with her back facing the open air. She sobbed quietly, wiping away tears on her arm as she stood precariously at the brink of certain death. Aaliyah's mind raced as she tried to think of what she could do. Should she approach the girl and risk her taking a step back over the edge? Should she go back the way she came to find help, leaving the girl in this terrible situation? No, she couldn't possibly do that. "Hold very still, sweetie, okay? I'm going to walk towards you if that's okay," Aaliyah said, as she took slow and steady steps toward the girl, whose face looked terribly frightened. Thankfully, the girl did not move, but continued to cry softly as Aaliyah approached her. Once Aaliyah reached the ledge that lined the edge of the building, she was still a good 6 feet from the little girl, who could not have been more than 4 years old. She was going to have to climb up and get the little girl, God help her. From her vantage point by the ledge, Aaliyah could see the entire city in the distance. The occasional bird flew by. She wished a helicopter would happen by and see the situation. Maybe they could alert the building security, and then Aaliyah wouldn't have to do this alone or at all. Feeling herself tremble, Aaliyah jumped and pulled herself carefully onto the ledge, the only thing protecting her from tumbling off the building. As she attempted to stand on her now wobbly legs, a strong wind gust blew her right into the little girl and over the side of the building. She caught herself and steadied as best as she could. As much as she tried to focus on the girl in front of her, Aaliyah's gaze fell almost instantly on the 60-story drop just behind the girl. Odd as it sounded, Aaliyah actually felt dizzy and leaned toward the fall instead of away from it. Her mind raced. All she could think was that girl waited for her just over the edge. The girl continued to cry and stare at Aaliyah, but now the girl had a slight look of anger in her eyes, not the innocent look of a child needing help that Aaliyah had been so eager to rescue moments earlier. As Aaliyah found her footing and took one very cautious step toward her, the girl took one small step backward so that her heel touched the edge of the concrete. "Oh no," Aaliyah screamed. "Don't do that. Stay calm and let me help you. It's very important that you don't move anymore, okay?" Aaliyah begged, not just with her words, but also with her eyes. She stared the little girl right in the face, pleading with her to comply. "Please don't make me fall off this building trying to save you," she thought. "Please." Aaliyah was almost close enough to reach out and touch the girl. She decided to take one more step toward her, but had to wait for a gust of wind to pass. It was really moving Aaliyah, and she briefly wondered how the small girl was not more affected by it. I'm going to take another step toward you, okay? It's important you not move at all. Do you understand me? Aaliyah stared the girl down and hoped upon hope that the girl would nod her head or speak something. Anything. Aaliyah wasn't even sure if the girl understood the danger she was in. Just as Aaliyah took the step toward the girl, she looked past her at the vast world beneath both of them and was overcome with panic. Aaliyah began to gasp wildly for air, and her depth perception failed her for a moment. She actually thought she was already falling and had to drop to her knees to keep from falling on top of the girl and over the ledge. Aaliyah closed her eyes and took some deep breaths. She envisioned a relaxing day at the beach, reading a book in the beach chair as the waves lapped at her feet. Once she felt the anxiety subsiding, she slowly opened her eyes and was greeted by the same terrifying view. Knowing she could not endure this for much longer, Aaliyah slowly stood again to face the child. To her surprise, the girl's face was set in a full-blown scowl with her hands down by her sides. She looked furiously at Aaliyah. Without thinking too much, Aaliyah took another step toward the girl. Once again, the girl also took a step backward so that both of her heels were right on the edge of the concrete. If she so much as swayed back a bit, she would undoubtedly fall 60 stories to her death. But why did she look so angry now? Aaliyah felt her stomach sink and recover over and over. Every time she steadied herself and looked at the girl's feet, her gut dropped again. She had to act, but if she lunged, the girl might tip back and be gone. While Aaliyah frantically thought through potential scenarios, the girl slowly raised both of her arms out to her sides. Aaliyah froze and watched in horror. The girl's angry stare contorted into the most disturbingly evil smirk Aaliyah had ever seen, and the girl began to sway back and forth. This is a trap, Aaliyah heard herself say, not quite comprehending what her mind suggested. The little girl's face changed again, softening into a sweet little child as she yelled, "Help me!" and fell backward toward the 60-story drop, seemingly in slow motion. She almost appeared to reach for Aaliyah's hands, but Aaliyah did not reach out for her. Standing still and watching in terror, Aaliyah screamed and fell once again to her knees as the little girl disappeared over the ledge of the building. "Oh God, what happened? Is she gone?" Aaliyah screamed in complete shock, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. She could not come to terms with the idea she might have just watched a girl fall 60 stories to her death on the pavement below. When she opened her eyes, she was still crouched on the ledge of the skyscraper building, the wind trying its best to toss her over the edge, the same edge the girl went over moments before. Her heart skipped and her gut dropped. She had to get herself down from there now. Aaliyah mustered the last of her courage and shuffled back toward safety of the roof, looking first before fully trusting that her foot would find concrete to stand on and not empty air. Trembling so ferociously she could barely walk, Aaliyah shuffled to the door leading back into the building. Even the sight of the stairs leading down to the 60th floor sent her straight into another panic attack. She forced herself to close her eyes, turn to face the door, and descend the stairs backward on her knees and on her hands. Back on the 60th floor, filled with desks and chairs, Aaliyah laid on the floor in the fetal position and cried hysterically. All the fear and anxiety poured out of her like a river flowing at the height of rainy season. The guards must have been looking for her because they burst into the room and rushed to her, throwing a blanket over her and talking into their radios. Aaliyah was aware of their presence but unable to answer any of their questions, much less move. She kept repeating, "This is a trap. This is a trap," over and over as one man picked her up and put her on a gurney. Wow, this one survived it, one guard said to the other. This is a trap, Aaliyah screamed. Sort of, the other guard said to the first. Let's get out of here before it comes back. As they carried Aaliyah to the elevator, the sound of a child's whimper drifted in from the roof. And the story ends just like that. Just like that.
Just like that.
Dang, that went longer than I thought it was going to go.
I've done a lot of traveling in my life, road trips, stayed in motels from Georgia to New York to the West Coast and all points in between, and down in Mexico and up in Canada and just about everywhere on this continent. And there's always, you hear these stories of somebody going into a room and getting a foul odor and find out that there was a body under the bed.
Oh.
Because a lot of the motel rooms, the bed is on a platform where you can't really look under the bed. So this next story is not quite that, but it kind of resembles that, and it's even a little bit worse than that. And this news just came in on today, March 22nd, 2022, at 9:52 a.m. from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you have a phobia, like some of us did when we traveled a lot back in the olden days, of possibly getting into a room and you could either find a body in the shower or a body under your bed, and find out that you slept over a body all night long and wondered what that odor was. Well, listen to this story, true story. A homeowner in Pennsylvania and her boyfriend made a disturbing discovery on her property that explained the many times she could smell a foul odor around her home. Tracy Dowds has lived in a mobile home for about 5 years. I felt weird since I've been there. I didn't know why, or is it just me? Dowds said. Her boyfriend stumbled upon human remains underneath the house while fixing the plumbing. At first, she thought he was trying to be funny, but then confirmed there were human bones, but they went to double check. Of course, the pair called 911 and police came to investigate. Dowd says she could sometimes smell something, but thought it was just a dead animal and didn't want to mess around with it. State police said it's unclear how the person died. Have you ever thought about that when you stayed in some motel room? And, you know, some cheaper motels, especially some little roadside motels, and maybe the room didn't smell just right. Did you ever wonder what might be under that bed that sit on that platform? Did you ever think about that?
I've wondered more what have people done on this bed before me.
Well, I can tell you that. Would you like to talk about that? That doesn't take a lot of imagination.
But
you know,
we did have one of those microtels, and it's the microtel, and what's that fancy place in Tennessee, Gatlinburg.
Yeah, that fancy place up there in Tennessee.
Yeah, up in the mountains and woods up there.
I've been there too, a bunch of years ago.
We went as a large group back then, and my sister and a couple of her friends got in a room, and they got in there, and I mean, as soon as they open the door, the smell hits them. And they thought of that. So one of them ran to get the management, and the other one talked about that urban legend about the body in the mattress.
Mm-hmm.
But they came back, and it turned out they went all through the room, and they opened that little tiny fridge. Some boob had left their fish in the refrigerator. They'd been fishing and stuck the fish, the raw fish.
I'd have rather found a body.
That'd have been more fun, huh?
Well, I had fun at one motel I stayed at. I stayed a few days, and so I acted like I was not in the room. I knew the maids were going to come by. I wanted to clean the room, so I took the pillows and everything and made it look like I was laying in the bed. You know what I'm saying? So the first time they came by, they thought, "Oh, he's asleep," and they left. But then they came by again, and after a while, it's like, Maybe he ain't moved.
Yeah, he ain't moved. He's just a dead body.
He dead and stinking like Abraham Lincoln.
Ugh.
Lord have mercy. So there's all kind of stuff. Now, what do we got here? Oh, okay. Talking about those things that take place in the bed. Okay. since you want to talk about that, right?
Uh-huh.
So there's two names for that activity you're talking about. Genophobia and coitrophobia. And mute your mic. And that is the fear of sexual intercourse.
Oh, God.
And people
That's
with this
sad.
fear may be afraid of all sex acts or only of intercourse itself. Have you ever heard of that one?
And I actually have not. I haven't even thought about that because I mean it's so
Well, I
close.
mean,
How could
you're
you be afraid of
asexual
it?
anyway.
Hey, say yeah. You know what asexual? That's when like a cell splits apart on its own and becomes two cells.
Oh, so you're transgender?
I
Is that
can't.
what
I
you're
can't
saying?
morph. I can't morph into another me.
Ah, so the main cause of genophobia usually is someone has been exposed to some severe trauma, especially like sexual assault or sexual abuse. And if you do any counseling with anybody, I have in the past, you'll find out that a lot of people, especially girls, were sexually abused by a family member or somebody that knew them, and they never told anybody.
That I can understand. Now I feel like an idiot. Yeah, I can see that making you scared of.
Yeah. And so I mean, you're young, and it's an authority figure, and you're in an awkward position because it just you have to put yourself in their shoes. A lot of people say, "Oh, why didn't they run and tell somebody?" Well, there's a lot of reasons that people, yeah.
I hate people. Why did you do this? Why did that? You weren't there. How do you know?
That's the point. That's the point. So anyway, that screws them up sexually for the rest of their lives because they don't look at sex. You'll find that there's two things for them. One is that they will be frigid. You know what the word frigid means.
Yep.
And not want sex, or it can go the other way to where they've just become very open and have lots of sex partners, and you know what I'm saying. So it can go either way. So there you go.
There you go.
Any other questions?
Well, Professor.
And some women go from one extreme to the other.
So how do men react to that?
I don't know. I'm not a man.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Kevin's thinking. Kevin's thinking, I gotta go pray.
I said, have you seen? Just
Wait a
kidding.
minute. I have my holy water, Kevin.
We're right here in the bag.
So man, there's a phobia of everything. What's the next phobia you got there, Kevin Kane?
Well, I touched.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. What about Catherine? Does she have a phobia?
Oh,
I see.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay. Yeah, I touched on it. I don't like spiders, like a little ugly guy right there. But now I don't run screaming from them. Now my sister and my mother before her are horribly afraid of spider. My sister will scream like she's in a horror movie, and don't dare play a joke on her with a fake spider. She will beat the out of you after she gets done screaming and panicking.
I started to say that the spider better be afraid of me.
I have one for you guys.
Well, let me tell this right quick, then, because I want to tell you when I was thinking about, my sister can't even watch horror movies with spiders, like Arachnophobia or Kingdom of the Spiders. She can't watch that. She can't even watch that old 50s movie Tarantula about the giant spider. I love those. I can watch them on TV all day, but I just don't want to look at it on my arm crawling around. But this reminded me of an episode.
Yeah, but you're a sick pup anyway.
I'm a sick pup anyway. God, where's
Good
my...
to hear you admit it.
No sicker than you are.
I'm proud of it.
Sick of it and proud of it. Sick and proud. Let's see. Where are my bookmarks here? Because I had this thing opened up here. Here we go. Here we go, bookmarks. So here's my bookmarks here. I want to tell about... Oh, come on now. I know I bookmarked it. Well, anyway, and this was back during your time, Kelsey. You probably remember after the huge success of the Twilight Zone in the 60s, and that left the air. Well, Rod Serling returned. Rod Serling, the host of Twilight Zone, returned in the early 70s for another show, and it was called Night Gallery. Do you remember that one?
Oh, I like Rod Serling. He was on.
Yes.
And I liked Alfred Hitchcock as well.
Yeah, and some of those Night Gallery episodes creep me out more than the Twilight Zone. But dadgummit, I have the story up here. I'll just tell it by heart. So there's this guy, this writer who has arachnophobia. And well, he's not a writer. I think he's an investor. And the lady who lives in the building with him in this apartment building is the writer. But he has severe arachnophobia. But he's also an a-hole. He just belittles everybody. And this neighbor of his, the writer, she's went out to dinner with him a couple of times, and now she's in love with him. But he keeps spurning her advances, and he keeps talking down to her. He talks down to the building manager, the janitor. He's just a first-class jerk. And he isolates himself in this apartment. Well, he looks in the kitchen sink and sees a little spider crawl out of the pipe. So he flushes it down with some water and goes about his business, comes back, and the spider has climbed back out of the sink, but it's now bigger. And every time he flushes it down the sink, it gets bigger. Now it's the size of his hand. And he's just panicking. So now he calls on his neighbor, this lady who he spurned, to come over and stay a while with him to keep him company because his nerves are shot. And he keeps hearing the squeaking sound coming from his bedroom. He goes in the bedroom, and he all of a sudden, out from under his nightstand, shoots this big spider the size of a dog. Of course, he slams the bedroom door screaming, and you, the audience, are wondering, is he hallucinating all this, or is this for real? But anyway, he calls the lady over, and she's consoling him, but then she decides to get a little revenge. So under the guise of helping him out, she takes him to the bedroom door and opens the door and says, look, there's nothing in there. He can hear the squeaking sound in there, but she can't. He steps in to look, and she shoves him and slams the bedroom door and locks it. And he's in there screaming and banging, and she's just laughing because she thinks he's going to start raving mad. But I think we all know his fate in there. If that spider was real, it's probably big as a house by then and swallowed him whole. So that's any arachnophobic's worst nightmare, that episode of Night Gallery. So now, what were you going to tell Catherine? You had a story.
Okay, let me get back over here to it. And here is something that Kelsey faces. Fear of children. It's termed pedophobia.
I saw that a minute ago.
I am not afraid of children. I just don't. Mute it a second.
It's also the fear of children, or of dolls and human-like.
I got dolls all around me. Kevin and you started that crap. What I don't like about kids is like the one that was over at the house the other night, and they just have no control. They grab everything and throw your stuff everywhere. That's why I don't like kids. No phobia. Jesus.
I know you do not have a phobia of children, but people actually do have a phobia of children.
Yep.
There's androphobia, an abnormal or persistent fear of men. There's genophobia, a completely irrational or excessive fear of women.
Well, that fear is justifiable.
I think the androphobia is
Yeah.
justifiable too.
Angel phobia, the fear of angels.
Angel
No,
phobia,
is that what you said? It sounded like you said angel phobia.
androphobia
Androphobia, the
is
fear
the
of
fear
androids,
is the fear of men.
the fear of men. Okay.
Um, a lot of people have a glossophobia, which is a fear of speaking in anticipation of speaking in public. A person with
Yes.
glossophobia can experience a dry mouth, weak voice, and uncontrollable body shaking. I used to have that fear, but believe it or not, I do not have that fear
Yeah.
anymore.
I had it till I took a speech class in college, and that got rid of it. And now I can just stand up and talk to people as long
I
as it's
know.
something I like to talk about. You know.
Yeah, now you can't get him to shut up.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking. What does he mean? Shut up! I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know. What does he mean? I don't. I don't ever shut up. What do you never shut up? Yeah, that where there in the middle right there.
I'll tell you one thing that I would not miss. I love hearing him talk. Some of his stories are very interesting.
Yeah.
But what's another fear that
Let me mute it for a second. All right, we're talking about fear of public speaking. I'm going to tell you my story. I used to be too embarrassed to tell this, but now that I'm old, I don't care. So my dad was a pastor of a small church up in Athens, Alabama, when I was a kid growing up. So when I got about 6, 7 years old, he decided it was time for me to get up on the pulpit and read a out of the Bible. And that was a big day for my family. It's like, ooh, here comes Kelsey. You know, mamas, they're proud and all that crap. So my mother, it's December, and my mother puts me in this wool suit. And if you remember how your skin was when you were a little kid, that wool just did not feel good against the skin, which has little to do with the story, but anyway. So I got my Bible. I got dressed in this little wool suit. I remember it to this day. And I'm standing in front. It wasn't a big congregation. It was just a small group of people. And I start reading what my dad told me to read. And I was so afraid that I stood there and I peed all over myself to the point that I was standing in a pool of my own pee. But guess what? I kept reading. Because worse than that pee was my dad's bill. So I knew, but I clearly, like Kevin, I overcame that. But but I was scared. I was very quiet, especially around adults. I was very timid, shy, quiet.
What? What? I think his headphones are gone.
The funny thing is when I was in elementary school, I always got stuck doing the lead in like little plays and stuff that we did all the way, well, throughout middle school, church and all that good stuff. Every time you did a play or whatever, I always got the lead because I have this strange memory problem. I can remember just about anything, just memorize it and rattle it off to you. I was much better when I was younger than I am now. As Kelsey, I can take a test and pass it like that just for memorization. And because I was able to memorize everything, I always got stuck with the roles. But as I got older, I developed that fear.
Yeah, now she just eats the rolls.
Just Easter rolls. Well, I
But
got another fear here that a lot of people have. I don't, but a lot of people have this. And if you are scared of clowns, just be forewarned. I'm about to throw up a frightening picture right there. The fear of clowns.
I'm not worried about that because you are a clown. I know you're not.
The fear of clowns. It was a rough few years for people a few years back in the wake of the clown attack craze that reached a fever pitch in 2016. That's when people were seeing folks dressed as clowns all over the place. There were movies about creepy clowns that took over the entertainment landscape, like It and It Chapter 2, Joker. And then last year, Magnet Releasing even debuted a documentary about Wrinkles the clown. This is a real clown. The infamous Florida man whose work as a creepy clown for hire has gone massively viral in recent years. A local legend, Wrinkles is a 69-year-old retiree who will show up in a terrifying clown suit to scare the pants off anyone you ask him to, even your own misbehaving child. He told the Washington Post that he gets hundreds of phone calls a day requesting his services. Man, talk about that's ingenious to come up with this idea. We know there's a human underneath, and yet you don't know their identity, a voiceover says of Wrinkles in the trailer for the documentary. That creeps people out. But why are people afraid of clowns to begin with? Although professional clowns have long been fixtures at family-friendly events like children's birthday parties and the circus, according to Dr. Rami Nader, a registered psychologist practicing at Vancouver's North Shore Stress and Anxiety Clinic, the fear of clowns often stems from that feeling of not knowing what's going on in the mind of the person behind the face paint or mask. Clowns' faces are disguised and they have these large artificial displays of emotions. So you have a clown with a painted face and a big smile, but you don't really know what they're actually feeling, the doctor told Time magazine. There's this inherent mistrust that what they're presenting to you is not what they're actually feeling. Frank McAndrew, a professor of psychology at Knox College, adds that clowns have a long history of being seen as suspicious. Some of the very first clowns were the court jesters who poked fun at kings and made people in high places uncomfortable. That's why they exist, said Dr. McAndrew. They're designed to make people afraid. If you go all the way back to the beginning of clownhood, they have always been bad. They're pranksters and they play tricks. Of course, pop culture's recent trend toward depicting clowns as menacing and murderous has not helped to improve their reputation. When people hear clown, the first association that pops into their heads are the killer clowns in movies like It, Joker, and then you have the real life mass murderer John Wayne Gacy, the 1970s serial killer who became known as the Killer Clown for his volunteer clown work. So it is kind of hard to get past that. However, while people are apprehensive or fearful of clowns, both doctors Nader and McAndrew agree that someone having an actual phobia of clowns, known as calrophobia, is rare. To be a phobia, the fear of clowns would have to cause the person a great deal of distress and interfere in their life, Dr. Nader says. Fortunately, we live in a society where clowns are just wandering around, so it's pretty easy to avoid them or at least not come into contact with them very regularly. Rarely does this fear ever cause a person to experience a disruption in their lifestyle or ability to do things. So, if people are so scared of them, why does society's fascination with creepy clowns continue to endure? Dr. McAndrew chalks it up to human nature. Quote, we like to learn about dangers in a safe way so that we're prepared in some unknown future time to deal with them if they ever come our way. So by going to see the movie It and watching the evil clown lure children in and kill them, we learn strategies for avoiding that kind of fate ourselves, he says. We're not consciously sitting there watching the movie and thinking these things. but that impulse to live, to scare ourselves is there, or that impulse to like to scare ourselves is there. So, like it or not, it seems like creepy clowns are here to stay. Creepy clown, creepy clown. I love a creepy clown. I love a good creepy clown movie. There's another one called Terrifier. That's a good scary clown movie. He is freaky.
I haven't seen that one. Did you know that people can have a fear of something as simple as peanut butter?
I know people don't like it, but a fear?
A fear of peanut butter, and it is called trophobia,
Hmm.
something to that nature. But that was kind of weird. And arithmophobia, a lot of people have a fear of that. Do you know what that is?
Not off the top of my head.
Fear of numbers.
Oh, I know there's a fear of the number 13, but I can't remember what that's called.
Um, there's just so many fears out there. I did not realize.
I got another fear for you.
Okay,
Mute it.
I'm trying.
there you go.
Zeusophobia. You ever heard of it?
The fear of a Greek god? No, Zeusophobia.
It's the basic fear of God or gods. And another word for it is theophobia. Theophobia, fear of God, fear of religion.
Oh, I had not heard that.
Yeah. So fear of God may refer to fear itself, but more often and to a sense of awe and submission to a deity. But Zeusophobia, fear of God, is the irrational fear of God or God. Someone suffering from this mental disorder may experience what they experience. They may have full-blown panic attacks that require hospitalization. And since religion is all around us, it's much more common in some countries as opposed to others. So the country someone lives in may be a pertinent factor as to how much anxiety they will inevitably experience. They may be either extremely religious or they may merely consider themselves to be a deist. Regardless of their specific beliefs, they will undoubtedly experience extreme amounts of distress due to their irrational fear of either the God they believe in or gods in general. Someone with a Zeusophobia may find that even going to church to be a very dreadful experience, as they may be in constant fear in such an environment.
Well, I got a strange one for you that I've never heard of before, but now that I read about it, it makes sense. It's a long word, too. It's called agoraphobia, if I'm pronouncing that right. Agoraphobia. Guess what that is? It is a fear of being forgotten. It's a fear of forgetting someone or something, as well as a fear of being forgotten by someone.
You don't get it. I hope I'm forgotten.
For example, you or someone close to you may have anxiety or fear of developing Alzheimer's disease. That makes sense. Or memory loss. This might come from caring for someone with Alzheimer's disease or dementia. But ain't nobody going to forget this little ball-headed thing right over here.
Yeah. So here's what Kevin suffers from right here. Kevin suffers from venustrophobia.
What the hell is venustrophobia?
Fear of beautiful women.
Oh, come on. How am I
Fear
afraid
me,
of a
Kevin.
beautiful woman? Fear her, she says. I ain't afraid of no beautiful woman. Now y'all both muted. I can't hear what you're saying.
I said you just admitted I'm a beautiful woman. Thank you.
What is it? Look this one up. What's the fear of older women? Older women.
Fear of older women.
I'm not sure, but the fear of there's a fear of witches too in this day and age. It's called Wiccaphobia.
Here's Kelsey's answer: gerontophobia. Gerontophobia is the fear of age-related Well, the age-related self-degeneration or a hatred or fear of the elderly. So yeah, it falls under gerontophobia.
Geriatrics.
Yeah, scared that geriatric lady. Well, I tell you one thing: if you see the movie The Shining, you'll be scared of old women when that freaky old wrinkled naked lady comes out of the shower.
I knew you like porn.
Oh, that ain't porn. That
Naked ladies,
that
porn.
that scared the crap out of me as a kid. That scene, and that just
Yeah, I
makes me want
know.
to throw up.
Kevin, you wouldn't know what wrinkle to stick it in.
No, this ain't Triple X Theater here. This is abnormal
sure?
Alabama.
I thought this was myhaunteddogs.xxx.
No, myhaunteddogs.com down there.
Okay.
Next, you're gonna make yourself an X-rated wish box, Triple X box.
Fantastic idea. Are you lonesome? Do you need sex? Get one of our XXX wish boxes. You will have abundant amounts of opportunity.
Guess what I built today, Kevin?
What did you build today?
I built my first wishing machine.
You built one.
Built one all by myself. He stood over me and told me when I messed up, but I did build one. And guess what?
What?
I put money on one last night.
And what?
And guess what?
What?
I got some money today.
You got some money? Wow. When you wish upon a machine, just the idea is very keen.
Wishing machine works.
Kevin's a poet and don't know it. Don't show it.
I was just imitating Jiminy Cricket's "When You Wish Upon a Star."
Oh God, I'm gonna get over my Kevin phobia.
Yeah, I know. No such thing as Kevin phobia.
Yeah. Kevin
Let's see.
phobia.
Oh, there is a fear of bald men. I know I've heard of that.
Oh, there's a Bible verse about that. You'll get eaten up by bears if you call a man bald. You're not familiar with that story?
No, that sounds like a Kelsey.
Okay, no. Catherine, look it up. Read that Bible verse to it.
Okay, I will. I wanted to tell you guys something. Here's one that I used to suffer from, and my daughter suffers from it really horribly. It is trypanophobia.
Trypanophobia.
My daughter is extremely scared of these. Fear of needles.
Fear of needles, really. Yeah, a lot of people. That's more common than people might know. A lot of people hate needles. I only did as a kid. I don't mind them now.
Did you know there's a fear of technology?
Yeah, I've heard of that too. I couldn't say the name, but I have heard that not long ago.
It's technophobia. I mean, it's just some of these things are just like, okay, there's one. Here's one for you and Kelsey. Obesophobia.
Oh, fear of fat people.
No, fear of gaining weight.
Oh, fear of gaining weight.
Yeah.
And there's an actual phobia of.
Tell him that. Okay, but you got to straighten him out about calling men bald.
I gotta go find it.
From the Bible. It's from the Bible.
I was just saying there's phalacrophobia when someone suffers
there's
from
also
phalacrophobia.
There's also phobia.
That's
fear
of becoming bald and bald people. What? Oh yeah, there's a fear of phobias, isn't there?
Hey, listen, I don't live in fear of becoming bald. Why should
I? You already are. I'm still waiting on this Bible verse. What is the Bible verse about bald?
I'm working on it. I got it now. It is 2 Kings. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. And he went up from unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth young lads out of the city and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head. Then Elijah went up in Jericho, Bethel on the way. Young boys came out of the city and mocked him, and said, Go up, You bald head, go. Up, you bald head.
Go up, you bald
Jericho,
head.
he went up from Jericho to Bethel. On the way, young, maturing, and accountable boys came out of the city and mocked him and said to him, "Go up." And then he went up, and a bear came.
You get okay. You didn't.
And that just
No, you did. You did not tell. I don't know where you read that from.
it's Second Kings. Hold
I
on.
know, but you didn't tell the whole story because it wasn't one bear.
Hold on.
Well, you know, there is a verse in Leviticus that says, and here Kessie's gonna love this. Leviticus, it says, if a man loses the hair of his head and becomes bald, he is pure. How about that? You're pure. You lost your hair.
Here we go. Are
Okay.
we ready?
You found
Turn
it.
your, mute it. Mute it.
I gotta get to it.
Second.
Well, you're both muted.
Okay. Try
There
this
you go.
again. Second Kings 2:24. He turned around, looked at them, and called down a curse on them in the name of the Lord. That was after they called him bald. Okay. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of the boys. So I would suggest, Kevin, that if you don't want to get mauled, you better stop picking on bald men.
Ugh, I don't pick on bald men.
You don't call me.
If you
That's
can't,
all they did. That's all they
if
did.
you
Say, "Hey,
can't,
bald man. Hey, bald man."
if you
And
can't take
God's
it
gonna
back,
say, "In the name of God."
if you can't take it, don't dish it out. Did you?
No, well, okay, you take the bears. Okay?
You know what?
I send a curse upon him in the name of the Lord. What's that
You-
behind your window out
you
there?
didn't-
Do I hear bears
No.
scratching on your window?
You didn't hear.
If I was you, I wouldn't go outside tonight. Be
You didn't hear.
big bear trouble.
You didn't hear a word I said about the Leviticus verse, did you? It
What?
says, if a man loses the hair of his head and becomes bald, he is pure.
I
So
know
they
I'm pure. You don't have to
say
tell me that.
there. Now I've given you a compliment.
No, you didn't. God gave me a compliment. You're just reading what God gave me. Trying to take credit for God.
I'm not gonna.
Kevin, you are narcissistic. I think your name is Donald J.
You
Trump.
are just a put words in everybody's mouth, blown out of proportion, a little goofy man.
Goofy? Now, bald and goofy? God, send the bears. Where's the
He
bears?
ain't gonna send no
Yeah, the
bar.
bears.
He ain't gonna send no
Well,
bar.
so now you send the Bible lies.
So this was
Catherine's
just.
Catherine's going to sleep over there.
I mean, if he sent bears, well, I think we'd all be eaten by now. If he sent bears to eat people that made fun of other people, I think we'd all be dead right now.
I don't ever make fun of other people.
Your nose is gonna grow long in a minute with that flat out lie.
Now you call me a liar, bald. What else you call me?
God. Yeah, he likes to play the little victim ticket there. Let's see.
When I'm with you, I don't have to play it.
All the insults I've taken, I should have a little way to.
Oh, you should get on the
give
Catherine
back a little
for
bit
that. You
there.
should get Catherine to quit doing those insults.
I was gonna pull. There was another fear I was gonna pull up, and they done made me forget. Ay ay ay. Let's see.
The fear of forgetting.
Well, we covered that one. The fear of forgetting or being forgotten. Let's see. There is Dumasophobia. Do you know what Dumasophobia is?
Yeah, it's fear of Dumases.
It is the fear of stupid people.
That's why I'm afraid of Kevin.
All ears.
Dumasophobia, the fear of stupid people.
Here's mine, phonophobia.
You're afraid of the phone?
Fear of loudmouth people.
Then why are you so loud?
Yeah, I gotta be loud to be heard over you.
What? I had to sit back for the first hour of the show where you just rattled on and on and on and on and on and on. Hell, I took a nap. I went showered, used the bathroom, I ran to the store. Come back and you're still going.
That is a bull lie right
Uh,
there. I spent 15, 20 minutes telling that story. Look, she's showing off something there. Is that her handmade wishing machine?
That is the wishing machine that I built. Doesn't it look good?
Yes, it does.
And
It's
it works.
shiny.
It
It's
works.
shiny.
I'm so proud of it. I saw it for the first time.
yeah, you know what he's looking at. When he says it's shiny, he's looking at my bald head.
He's trying to get them bears to eat you, isn't he?
Now, I know. We didn't talk about them bears. If something happens to me, y'all know it's Kelsey's fault. It's here on recording. Do you know there's a fear of everything? It's called pantophobia, the fear of every dang thing. Now, that's a real sad situation right there.
Is there one about, look this up, fear of clothes?
Yeah, I was looking at fear of wishes, but I don't see anything coming up. Let's see, fear of clothes. Vestophobia is a fear of clothing. For example, for many people, this manifests as a fear of a specific garment. For others, it might come from a fear of tight fitting clothing that causes one to feel constrained. In other cases, it is a fear of all clothing.
I'm afraid of clothing.
Well, if you're afraid of tight clothing, that's more like claustrophobia, tight places. But yeah, there's vestophobia.
There you go. Look at that.
You're scared of clothes, you're wearing clothes.
Okay, I was just reading something. I found another fear of snakes, and it's called OPHIDIO phobia.
God, why?
Yeah, OPHIDIO phobia is the fear of snakes. I thought arachnophobia was the fear of snakes.
Arachnophobia is fear of spiders.
Okay.
Arachnids.
I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But that's the fear of snakes. I thought that was interesting.
It's almost closing time here, but here's another one we hadn't even talked about. Ergophobia, the fear of work. People with ergophobia tend to have extreme anxieties associated with their place of work or their work environment. Some may fear a manual labor or the act of working itself, while others can have a fear of finding a job. All of these cases would be classified as ergophobia. Anxiety attacks and impair a person's ability to function professionally. It can have a huge impact on a person's life, as most people need to maintain a job to survive.
I have I'm sorry, Kelsey.
My turn. Hey, greetings, Omar.
Omar's
here.
There he is.
Guess what this one is? Negrophobia.
I could say, but you'll call me a racist. Probably is when you're.
No, I'm reading it. I'm not no trap. It's a fear. Literally, it's a fear of black people.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, negrophobia.
See, negre is the Spanish word for the color black.
Yeah, well, negrophobia is a lot of people in Alabama suffer from
Okay. I'm going to try to pronounce this word. Hippopotamonoskidpedalophobia.
Good God, a fear of hippopotamuses and squids and hips.
No, it's a fear of long words.
Therefore, let's name it a long ass word then.
That's right. So I thought that was kind of funny.
I was just looking at one here. Asotrophobia, the fear of mirrors. This phobia is also sometimes referred to as a spectrophobia or catoptrophobia. People with this fear are unable to look at themselves in a mirror. This fear may extend to any reflective surface. It may stem from superstitions about mirrors. For instance, a person may be afraid of breaking a mirror because they believe it will cause them bad luck. Others may fear they will see something supernatural in a mirror, such as a ghost, Bloody Mary. Isotrophobia can develop from low self esteem as well, as a person may feel ashamed of their physical appearance and not want to see it in a mirror or be seen in a mirror. And it may require professional treatment in the form of counseling and medication. So I guess those people don't play Bloody Mary, do they? They might drink them, but they don't play them. What else have we got here? Oh, dipnophobia, the fear of dining with others. Have you heard of this? Dipnophobia. This often manifests as a fear of dinner parties and may stem from a fear of dinner conversations or having to carry out a conversation while eating. It may be related to an underlying social phobia. In many cases, it is triggered by traumatic events from an individual's past, such as being ridiculed as a child for the way they ate or for not following proper etiquette at the dinner table. Dipnophobia.
Let's see. The fear of the dark.
Oh, yeah, we know about that.
Achylophobia. There's a fear of pain. I mean, there's a fear of human-like figures.
Yeah. Of course, we already mentioned phobophobia, the fear of all phobias. The fear of phobias.
Okay, photophobia?
Phobophobia.
Oh, phobo. Well, guess what?
Fear of
Photophobia is.
Fear of photos or having your picture taken?
No, fear of light.
Oh, okay. Photophobia.
Yeah, fear of light. They
Well,
can even
well.
feel it with fear of light. They can even feel it. They can feel pain from the light. That's where Dracula comes in.
I am Dracula. Yeah, vampires have that a lot, don't they? The fear of light. And I guess witches have a fear of water, at least the Wicked Witch of the West.
There's even a fear of being disorderly.
Like disorderly conduct or disordered, like
Unorganized.
unorganized, yeah. I guess so, yeah. There's people who are very anal about their organization out there. And don't you dare get in their space and touch it either. Because they are liable to go ballistic. What else have we got here? Decidophobia, the fear of making decisions. Making any kind of decision can seem impossible for someone with decidophobia, as they do not trust their own opinions. A person with decidophobia may excessively rely on others to help them with decision making. They may even turn to external sources, such as astrology, for advice. One of the symptoms of dependent personality disorder is relying on others to make decisions. So, what else here?
There's a lot of phobias out there. A claustrophobia. A lot of people have that one.
Yeah, claustrophobia. That's the fear of
Tight places.
the tight places. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Um,
I kind of get. Depends on where it is. I mean, I can go in a closet and shut the door, and I'm not afraid. But don't stick me in a deep, dark cave. You know, where I'm clammed in there, because that's just creepy.
I call it closet phobia.
Closet phobia.
Yeah, I don't have a fear of it. I don't particularly care for it, but it's not a fear of like going through that MRI machine. like the circle's like that big around, and they're putting my big body through it. It's like
Yeah.
they're being birthed through a birth canal or something. But
Uh,
that bothers me. We went to the Phobia factory over here in Columbiana. It's closed now, but that was a pretty good. They had all sorts of things, and it was like they had these big blow up balloons, and there was one on this side and one on this side,
yep.
and you had to squeeze through them. I said it was like walking through the birth canal.
Oh,
I was like that one kind of got me. I got a little
yeah.
claustrophobic on that.
Well, I just found a kind of funny one that I think Kelsey would love here. It's called Chidophobia, which is the fear of hair. This phobia can be a fear of one's own hair, other people's hair, or even animal hair. People with chidophobia might be afraid of a hairball on the ground or afraid of combing their hair. They often find it extremely difficult to get haircuts and will generally avoid situations where other people touch their hair. So I guess when you go, look at him combing his bald head. So I guess if you're bald, you don't have to worry about it. Well, you still fear somebody else's hair, I guess.
Well, the only other hair I fear is yours.
The only time I
That's why I fear your hair, because you spit all the time.
oh shut up. I just don't want to find somebody else's hair in my food, like if I'm in a restaurant. That's the only thing.
Well, if you find my hair in your food, give it back. Because I've been wondering what happened to it.
I said, well, go get a plate right now and put a wig on
The fear of here's one pagonophobia, the fear of beards. This usually stems from an alarming incident with a bearded person. It could also arise from a person not liking that a beard hides someone's face. People with pagonophobia will avoid those with beards and may even have anxiety when looking at a picture of a bearded person. Well, don't go to the circus and look at a bearded lady. I know that. They usually will not be friends with someone who has a beard and will feel extremely nervous when talking to someone who does. So that's pagonophobia, the fear of beards. Man, that's some weird. I grew a beard one time, but they itch too much. So I don't like wearing one, but I don't care. As long as it ain't filthy with nasty food stuck in it.
There is a fear of ugliness
Ah,
called cacophobia or cacophobia.
cacophobia.
Keiko, I don't know. People have a fear of clocks and time.
Yeah. It's a lot of these just stem from mental disorders. But yeah, I can picture somebody thinking time's running out on them all the time.
There's just a fear of everything.
Yeah, there's anxiety disorders. It's a lot of this stuff stems from.
Gamophobia. I hope nobody we marry has that.
Gamophobia.
It's fear of marriage.
Oh, I thought it was fear of games or something. Gamophobia.
It may be gamophobia.
Gamo.
There's a fear of knees.
A fear of knees.
Genuphobia. I'll get it out in a minute. Fear of knees. How can you have a fear of knees?
I don't know. We all have knees. What do? Do they have their knees removed or what?
I don't know. There's a fear of rooms. There's a fear of cooking. There's a fear of the color white. I do remember back in the day, 60, 70, something like that, they did an experiment and they scared children of the color white. And
grief.
Like the kids were so scared of the color white that Santa Claus, they couldn't sit in Santa Claus's lap. It was an experiment they did back in the day. I remember reading about a long time ago. We went over melanophobia, the fear of the color black, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, he called it negrophobia, but that's fear of black people, though, I guess.
Yeah. Necrophobia, fear of dead things.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Necrophobia.
Pathophobia, the fear of disease. There is a fear of paper.
Uh-huh.
Oh, philophobia, fear of love. I'm just shocked at all the phobias there are out there.
I guess there's a fear of fear out there.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Selenophobia, the fear of the moon.
Oh.
There's even a fear of sleep.
Yeah. Well, it's going on 9 o'clock now, so we're getting down to the.
Oh, let's go over books. I want to say that make sure you order your wishing machine
What about
from the Wish Doctor.
Dark Awakening? It's in hardbound now. This is my this is a sample copy, so that's why it's got a little label on here. But if you buy yours, it's going to look like that right there, and it's in hardbound now. Or just get it in paperback. And I've got it at myhauntedDolls.com, along with a lot of other goodies on my shop and other books. So check those out.
And datingthedead.com for Dr. Graham's.
Yeah. Dating the Dead and Spectrophilia.
Yes, and I think he's going to be doing a upgrade on that book because he's got more stories to add to it.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I'm not sure what he's going to do that, but make sure you order your wishing machine before they sell out.
Yes.
We wish they'll never sell out because we'll keep building them.
Yes, building and building and building the wishing machine.
I hope there's not a phobia against wishing machines.
We will not create one.
I didn't see a phobia of wishes out there, so I guess.
I guess there could be a phobia of genies.
Phobia of jeans, okay.
Genie.
Genies, oh, okay.
No, I remember I dreamed of genie. There's no phobia.
Yeah.
901, folks. I'm a phobia of overtime.
Yeah, I hate the over to phobia.
I can't believe it's already been 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, all righty. Well, are we?
I just want to say good night. Hope you guys are safe.
Yes,
Watch the
good
weather.
night. Yes. And be careful out there. Peace, 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 peace.
Storms tonight in Alabama, so be careful.
Yes.